Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhidiritam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grananti Ye Bhurida Janaha. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees at Dakshineshwar temple premises on Sunday, the 22nd of February 1885. This being the Sunday following the birthday celebration of Sri Ramakrishna that year. Now we have to remember Sri Ramakrishna used to celebrate his birthday twice. Is unusual. Birthday is celebrated only once a year, but he used to celebrate the birthday twice a year, usually, unless it fell on a Sunday. So one birthday is the regular birthday as per the Panchang, Almanac. We know he was born on Falgun Shukla Dvitiya. As per the lunar calendar, Panchang, his birthday is to be celebrated normally at Dakshineshwar's temple premises, as is done in almost all the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission centers all over the globe. In addition, Sri Ramakrishna used to celebrate another birthday on the Sunday following that regular birthday. So that is to call public celebration. For the celebration mainly meant for Grihastha Bhakta, householder devotees. That is important. So this is a special concession for the householder devotees to participate in his birthday on a holiday differing from a working day. On the weekdays, the devotees usually engaged in various professions would be busy. Despite their wish, they may not be able to attend. To facilitate the birthday, he used to arrange the birthday on the Sunday. Now we have to understand second point. Usually by birthday celebration we mean a birthday party for making mirth, festivity with birthday gifts, exchange of greetings, and obviously the birthday feast throughout the world. As per the Western tradition, there is still now the cutting of the birthday cake and lighting of lamps and also on. That is the birthday celebration for which we understand. But here we find these items are almost negligible in his celebration. He is calling the devotees for a spiritual feast. The difference is not a material feast. He is giving a spiritual food, a very rich menu, and the menu is specially suited for the householders. Now we have the menus of varieties of dishes depending on the taste of the takers. Some persons like South Indian dish, some person like North Indian dish, some person like Chinese, some cosmopolitan. So you'll find in a party, various counters will be there. So here in Sri Ramakrishna's birthday party, so he is arranging a feast mainly for the householders and his young spiritual aspirants who are trying to embrace the life of renunciation. त्यागी भक्त एवं गृही भक्तों के लिए तो अलग उनका संदेश का बंदोबस्त है. As we have in birthday parties different counters, one will be the European food, another is Chinese food. There is no similarity between the two. Both are palatable, but meant for the people of different taste and temperament. So here also we have different, but then all the guests are equally honored. They are not looked down upon if one prefers European plate. So here also in Sri Ramakrishna's birthday party, the householder devotees especially is never ignored, avoided or looked down upon. This is the second point to note. Usually in a spiritual journey, the householders suffer from a inferiority complex. It is within them that we are not the proper kind of people, we have not been able to embrace the monastic life and call on God wholeheartedly. So maybe we have to wait for that spiritual culmination. Until then, we have to suffer, taking the load of the householder's duties and responsibilities. Now Sri Ramakrishna, thirdly, he completely abolishes this sort of inferiority complex. Rather, he is clearly telling that the householder devotees are far ahead of the people who embrace the life of renunciation. This is a novel idea Sri Ramakrishna is giving. It is never found in the history of our literature, where गृही भक्त को त्यागी भक्त से आगे बैठा दिया. It's a very surprising and notable incident of Sri Ramakrishna's life, and he demonstrated what he said. Now everybody then in the past, present and future would be flabbergasted, wonderstruck how an abject sinner like Girish Chandra Ghosh could get Gerua Bastra from Sri Ramakrishna while living in the world. Girish Chandra Ghosh was not asked to take Biraja home and embrace the life of monks. While living in the world, being engaged in his activities as a dramatist, as an actor, as a writer, without leaving, and his wife and children, he was not asked to leave anything. And Girish Chandra Ghosh himself acknowledges that there has not been a sinner like me before or after. Wherever I sit, the 10 feet of soil under me becomes polluted because of my intrinsic pollution of mind, extreme abject sin. Now that sinner has been converted into a saint, literal saint, by Sri Ramakrishna, and that is his golden touch. With this, he gives a message to the entire world that neither the environment of household nor the activities of householder stand in the way in achieving spiritual success in our life. It's a golden message, and for which he used to celebrate his birthday, especially for the devotees. And so, in these gatherings, the devotees will be predominant. They'll be coming in more in numbers. It's meant for them. Now, and obviously, there will be a stream of his messages, satsang, his golden words, kathamrit, he used to deliver, which was very aptly recorded by M. Usually M used to be present, Mahendranath Gupta, in those gatherings, and he very painstakingly noted and communicated these golden messages through his book, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is our discussion today. So we have to be very carefully, especially the householders, have to carefully study these books, understand the inner depth, and then implement in their life. The same time, feeling extremely self-gratified, self-honored, that they are not ordinary human beings. They may be householders, they may have failings, they may have shortcomings, but they are equally capable, competent, and a potential source of realizing God in this very life. Usually they think they have to wait for the next life. Nothing like that. Sri Ramakrishna was a householder till the last day of his life, being a monk of the highest order. This he has demonstrated, especially a message for the householders throughout the world for the days to come. So here we find that he chose his very close devotee, Surendranath Mitra, who is to call Suresh, as a token of a householder through whom he gave the golden message for the entire householders. Now, let us recapitulate what did he say to Surendra. We'll find he is not giving it. We'll find three important aspects here. He is not telling Surendra, a typical householder, to do something which is beyond his reach, beyond his capacity. He is not telling Surendra to meditate for 6 hours a day, or go to a pilgrimage, or spend money, or be fasting, or lead a sleepless night. Nothing like that. No prescription of that. It is we, through our distorted intellectual capacity and our complicated mind, we have complicated the spiritual practice beyond imagination. This is our SOPs, standard operative practices. It is not recommended by Sri Ramakrishna. What is his prescription? The difficulty is it is too simple to be believed. That is our problem. The householders have a problem. This is the common problem, common malady throughout the world. That we are not satisfied for a simple prescription. But we should know, the better the doctor, their prescription will be shorter. We find here in our hospital, the best neurologist, he gives just 1 or 2 medicines. Then the patients come back to us. How is the doctor? All the doctors throughout the world are prescribing 15 medicines. 15, 10 to 15 minimum list. He is giving me only 1 drug. Will it work? You see, he is the best doctor. So here also you find the prescription of Sri Ramakrishna is too simple to be believed. But when you say, you kindly take this drug and see for yourself, verify. Do not be this superstitious. We are scientifically superstitious. We make a belief on our own without any rhyme or reason, without any background or scientific explanation. We are fixed. This should be the way of prescription, this way of my treatment. That is wrong. We have to be scientific. We have to believe the product on verification. When the drug is prescribed, it has to be tested, verified, and then come for itself. This is true. This when Sri Ramakrishna prescribed very simple way to his young spiritual aspirant, yogin, who later became Swami Yogananda. He was an Ishwar Koti, eternally free. Now he in a young age, about 18 years old, which is normal for all young people, that they are overpowered by kama, passion, sexual passions. They overpower the young people. This is quite normal. Is the normal, natural, human attributes. This common disease. Now, for this, in our scriptures, there are a host of the procedures by which you can control your passions, by keeping this long fast, controlling your diet, and many other prescriptions are given. Even doing pranayama and complicated yogasana postures and all that. Now, there was one Hatha yogi who came to Dakshineshwar at that time when Sri Ramakrishna was there, and he was giving very complicated yogasana exercises to control kama, passion. So Yogananda was extremely interested because he was very much affected by this kama. Being an Ishwar Koti, you see, even a internally free person, when he takes a human body, he is overcome with the natural physical instinct. That covers everybody. We have to learn how to get rid of that. There is a wonderful contribution of Sri Ramakrishna. So he presented his problem to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna prescribed, as is usual, very simple solution. You repeat the name of God and it will be over. Hori name kam jai. Simple. 4-word prescription. You repeat the name of God in whatever way possible, the passion will vanish. When Yogin compared this prescription with the elaborate prescription given by the Hatha yogi, he was not convinced. Then he thought he has written, this has been recorded in the gospel in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna Lila Prasanga, recorded by Swami Saradananda. That because he was his Guru, he said one of our friends later is confided. Who else will? He has confided to his fellow brother disciples that this was his condition. When Yogin Maharaj heard this simple prescription, then by repeating God's name, one can overcome lust. He was not convinced. It is never possible. So many people are he cogitated. He thought that he is a very intelligent person. He was. So he was very egotistic. He thought that he is very intelligent and this person is almost illiterate. He may be a God man, but he may not have the knowledge of the sexual world. So he doesn't know. And much less, he never practices yogasana. He is ignorant. So he is not prescribing this method to us. He is not only prescribing, he is not recommending. He didn't hear. So one day, the yogasana was being demonstrated by the yogi, Hatha yogi in Dakshineshwar. There is a lot of crowd around him. We see that. This is the normal thing. There is a lot of crowd around him where the Yogananda is also present. Now, surreptitiously, Sri Ramakrishna came from behind and spotted out that in this crowd this yogin is also there. And then he caught hold of his hand and he asked, "What are you doing here?" He said, well, so he was very much embarrassed. He could not imagine that in that crowd he hided himself and he was attending this demonstration. So he caught hold of his hand, he brought him to his room. He said, "What are you doing here? Come here. This is not for you." He was very much embarrassed And they said, I told you to repeat God's name. Why are you following all these bogus instructions? So then Yogin Maharaj thought to himself, after all what he is telling repeatedly, let me try. Then only I will come to him and say it is all bogus. But when he tried, he was surprised to find that it works miraculously. Then he is acknowledged, this man is a golden person. With such a simple solution, he has solved a long-standing problem in my life. So such was Sri Ramakrishna, very simple solution to very complicated problems. Now here we come, this is a celebration of meant for the devotees. Now he knows the devotees' problems. Now here we cannot say, so far we had a plea in saying that the saints and seers are ignorant of the problems of the devotees. So we used to take that advice with a pinch of salt. If Chaitanya Dev says something for the householders, we take with a pinch of salt. We are reluctant to accept because he was a monk. He left his hearth and home and staying in Puri. What does he know of our problems? That's why Chaitanya Dev sent Nityananda to become a householder and give the instructions on behalf of Sri Chaitanya. And that was done. Now in this avatara, there is neither Chaitanya nor Nityananda, but Vairavi Brahmani has declared that this time that Chaitanya has, the same Chaitanya Dev has appeared in the garb of, in the covering of Chaitanya, the Nityananda. Nityananদের khule Chaitanyer abirbhav. That was a realization. Vairavi Brahmani was a realized soul. He was practicing, he was the guru of Sri Ramakrishna in his tantra. 64 tantras she taught. And not only she realized, she demonstrated with a religious congregation that this person is an incarnation of God, avatar. Not only avatar, it's a unique avatar. Nityananদের khole Chaitanyer abirbhav is a golden statement. The covering is Nityananda. He is appearing as a householder. He was a householder. He continued with his wife till the last day of his life. But within there is Chaitanya, this Sannyasin Supreme. It's a wonderful presentation. So we cannot say that what he is telling for the householders, it is out of his, the indirect knowledge. The direct knowledge is there. So he is telling then what is to be done for the householders. He called Surendra. He knew Surendra was a very busy person working in a merchant's office. He had hardly any time to call on God or come to Dakshineshwar. So what was his advice to Surendra? Maje esho. That's all. 3-word solution. Come and visit me now and then. That too as per your convenience. There is no prescription. There will visit me every day or every weekend or every month. Whenever convenient, please visit me. That was his advice. And now, and he also justified his statement that a pot has to be cleaned periodically or else it gets dirt and dust. So the mind has to be recharged with spiritual battery now and then or it gets discharged. This is quite reasonable and understandable. And secondly, he said that as a monk or a man of renunciation is required to give up his worldly attachments. In short, give up his attachment to sex and money. A sannyasi is supposed to give up. You should develop that attitude while being in the world. That is to be understood. There is no compromise on the norms, on the norms of spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna has not made the sadhana dilute for the householders. We have to be very clear. Though he is kind and considerate, but he has not diluted the method, which is renunciation alone. But that process of adhering to renunciation is being in the world, being amidst the objects of sensual pleasures and wealth. They have to develop a distaste for sex and wealth. Now, this is almost an impossible feat, that you be in the mud and then you remain completely without mud. But though it is not usual, but it is not impossible. When you see a lotus, an example is lotus. Lotus grows in mud, in mire. All the dirty environment, lotus grows, but in the lotus leaf, there is not a speck of dust. It is pure. Even if you throw water on the lotus leaf, it falls off. Similarly, we are supposed to be in the world, but there should not be a trace of worldliness within us. This is the secret of the message. We may remain in the world. Those who are in the world, there is no harm, but there should not be worldliness within them. Now, how that is possible? One solution is visit the holy places now and then. And in order that, previously there is no holy place. So the householders had to take a leave and take a long journey to either Banaras or Vrindavan or in the mountains. That was the usual practice. Sri Ramakrishna, Srima Sharda Devi, everybody did it. They went to Vrindavan, Gaya. This Ma went to Gaya, Thakur went to Vrindavan, Banaras. Why? Because to recharge their spiritual battery and show. But nowadays it is very simple. Sri Ramakrishna has come in the cities in the form of his various centers of Ramakrishna Math and mission centers. In almost all the cities, even now we are opening centers in the villages, in the remote districts of UP and Uttarakhand. We have got remote centers of Bhav Prachar Parishad. So the devotees have the centers of spirituality in the stone's throw, very close of their installations. What they have to do? They have to visit that place physically, not through internet or YouTube. Maje eshu. We have to understand this is the system. And then why? To get their spiritual battery recharged. And then why to be recharged? They say to make their mind free from worldliness. Clear? Because if you stay in the world without this process, worldliness is bound to enter into it. You are not Paramahamsa. We have to be very careful. When you are continuously in water, water may creep in. In order that you are free from water, that's what he used to say. If a boat has to ply in the water, there is no harm. That boat is in what? Boat remains in water. But if water enters into the boat will be drowned. The boat should be completely leak-proof. If there is a boat with a leak, then water will enter and boat will be drowned. Similarly, that's what happens in householders' life. They are taking the things very lightly. It should not be taken lightly. The prescription has to be followed. And so here he says that in order that you may remain in the world and be out of the world, you have to visit the holy places now and then. And then what is to be done there? By visiting these holy places, you should call on God sincerely. You should renounce the world internally, mentally. So he said, बीच में ईश्वर के साथ संपर्क करना और ईश्वर के साथ संपर्क करते समय व्याकुल होकर उनको पुकारना. This is the prescription. Now and then, whenever you get time, you visit the holy places and there without wasting your time, you call on God sincerely. So let the householders, let us not think of the general, let us think in particular, whoever is around us in this ashrama, let them visit this ashrama now and then, and having come here, instead of wasting time and gossiping and taking the data of political achievements, then sports and the environment, they should spend their time in the temple sincerely calling on God. It's not a tall order. So time is very precious. When the householders are busy, when they come very short time to a holy place, they should make maximum utilization of this time by sincerely praying to God. That's all, nothing else is needed. And then an example has been given that when a doubt comes within us, that is it possible to remain with God and remain in the world simultaneously? Now, Sri Ramakrishna says, this has been possible with King Janaka. Janaka used to run a huge household, at the same time a big empire. Both he ran successfully. He gave an example. But then he warned. The secret of Janaka was he realized God first and then entered into the world. There is one way, that before getting into the world, you realize God. Then you will not be affected. But he adds, you are not like Janaka. You have not realized God, but you have entered the world before that. So what is your prescription? So Sri Ramakrishna is repeating the prescription of Sri Chaitanya Dev. He is repeating here. That is done. The standard drugs are available, which is given. So that is threefold. That Chaitanya Dev, what he has to say, he endorsed. He said, Jibe Daya, Bhakta Seva or Nam Sankirtan. These are the threefold methods. That repeat the name of God, Nam Sankirtan, whenever the time is permitting, and you show compassion to the deserving people and keep the company of the holy. Jive Daya, Bhakta Seva, Nam Sankirtan. Now, here Sri Ramakrishna, later on, he modified these three disciplines in a simpler way. Then he said, this Jivedaya, he modified and saying that Shiva Gyane Jiva Seva. Jivedaya introduces a sense of ego in us, that we are making some charity, we are making some concession and compassion to the fellow beings. He said that we are too tiny, puny creatures to show compassion to others. Compassion can come from God alone. It is not compassion, it is the service to the other fellow creatures, thinking them as the manifestation of the divine. So he has corrected this Jivedaya system into a different way, that you serve people around you in whatever way possible, number one. And secondly, that Bhakta Seva, that this is, one is serve the poor and the needy, number one. Secondly, holy company, Bhakta Seva. Now, as we say, Guru Seva, Sant Seva. Now, peculiarly, now in our system, the Seva is misunderstood and misrepresented by feeding, by making some food and food offering. we say Bhakta Seva, Sadhu Seva. Sadhu Seva means you give some money and make a bhandara. It's a very peculiar understanding in us that you feed the monks, feed the Guru, and that will be Bhakta Seva. That is bogus. This is never interpretation. So, I personally asked my Gurudev, Bireshchandraji Maharaj, that what is meant by Guru Seva? He said, Guru Seva does not mean that you massage the feet of your Guru. He asked me, please imagine, I have so many disciples. If all the disciples come to me and start massaging my feet, what will be the condition of my feet? I have to go to a doctor. So Guru Seva means follow the advice of the Guru. I have given you the instruction during initiation, follow that advice. That is the best Guru Seva. So Bhakta Seva means that you meet the company of the holy and follow their instructions. Do not compromise and feel self-complacent that I have done a lot of Bhakta Seva by making a huge donation and feeding and arranging so many bhandaras and I will get the benefit. This peculiar attitude of shortcut has ruined us. We think instead of ourselves following the spiritual instructions, why don't the sadhus do the instructions and we feed them and we share the benefit? That is also there. That also works. But that is not the prescription. There is a remote way. It's in the indirect way. That also works. But that's not the direct approach. Direct approach is instead of going through all this intricate process, you help the poor, but follow the instructions of the holy man, follow the instructions of the spiritual preceptor, the Guru. And thirdly, side by side, that our Namaguna Kirtan, what Sri Ramakrishna used to say, is Namaguna Kirtan, repeat the God's name as far as possible. That is to be done as a regular procedure. And the other two depending on your convenience. This is the prescription of Chaitanya Dev, which was endorsed by Sri Ramakrishna. Now Sri Ramakrishna adds something more which is important. that is a special contribution, because you have to understand that God comes in an age suited for the age, Yuga Avatar. The currency, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the currency of the old will not be valid now. The currency of the British India, the coins of the Queen were valid. They are no more valid now. They will not work in the market. So there should be current coin. He used to say that old Ayurvedic prescriptions without authentication does not work anymore. Now we are quickly relieved by fever mixture, that allopathic medicine. Similarly, in this age, every age, God descends, Yuga Avatar, to make a method suited for the age, suited for the environment, without compromising the eternal truths. Now, Sri Ramakrishna came as Sri Rama before, and he was the truth personified, Satyashila. This was the giving honor to the truth of his father's promise. He went to forest. Dharma Satyapalan. Satyapalan, he is Satyasandati. Now, Tulsidas used to say, Satya Bachan evam parasti mati saman, aise na hari mile to tulsi jhut jawan. Now, this is the golden standard. But we have to understand, this may not be feasible to be practiced by householders in this modern age. It's very interesting, Sri Ramakrishna does not deny the practical conditions of our society. We are fools to understand and imagine that this whole world will be full of Paramahamsas around us. There are crooks and debauchers all around us. We have to understand the reality, or else we cannot relate the religion with our practical life. Sri Ramakrishna is giving a message which is relevant for our practical life, not distant. If we follow our prescription of our Upanishads and Gita, they will not be possible to be practiced now. He is giving a direct example. He is telling to the same person, Suresh, that you are engaged in a merchant's office and I know that you tell lies. Because he has to tell in a merchant's office. So though he does not recommend to tell lie, but he is giving a prescription how to counterbalance this process. If he has to continue his job, he has to tell lies. So there is one alternative is to give up his job and repeat the name of God. But who will maintain his household? Who will maintain his family? He has to take up a job because he is a householder. Now, while being a householder, maintaining a family and working in an office and telling lies, what is his way out? That is the interesting point. He is not denying the practical situation. With the given situation, that is the management technique. You have to optimize your resources under given constraints. That is called operational research. Operational research is based on giving a solution, optimizing, maximizing your resources under the given constraints. The constraints have to be obeyed, followed. Our constraints are this for the householders, that they are in the amidst of a false world. The whole world around us, they are running after money and women, and based on untruth, falsehood. Under these constraints, how to realize God? Sri Ramakrishna has given a simple statement that you donate. Donate your money. Whatever you earn, a major portion should be donated. Simple. He is giving a Vyakhyan. Donate your money. Daan karo. Then the money you earn will be overshadowed by your charity. With that money, whatever remains, you can help the poor, you can do the seva to your God, and you can realize God. It's a golden solution. With these constraints, you have to, and then, though I know that you are telling lies, why do I eat from you? Why? Because your donation outshadows your other activities. Your money has become pure. Money earned through falsehood is impure. We have no other way to earn money other than impurity. So how to convert this impure money into purity? He says. The impure money conversion changes to purity by your act of charity. You do more charity than your other activities. That's how your money has become pure, and that's why I eat your offerings. Now there is a question. A question was asked. Does God take our offerings? The question was asked. When you offer, not only in temples, but in our households, we make plenty of offerings. But we have a doubt that does God really take these offerings? Now, we have to understand that God takes the offerings provided there is a technique, there is a secret hidden within. If the offering is given with genuine love, with devotion, then only He will take, not otherwise. So, we find that in the Mahabharata, when Krishna went to the court of Duryodhana for making this peace before the great fight, in the great battle, in the Shanti Prastav lekar gaye the, then and his proposal was simplest, that since your brothers, 5 brothers, come from the royal family, they cannot live on alms. They have to live at kings. For them, just offer 5 villages so that they can become village leaders in 5 villages and stay. Following their Kshatriyas, following their habit. Just offer 5 villages out of the entire kingdom. But Duryodhana didn't agree. Anyway, so it fizzled out. And after the presentation was over, there's a question of to offer midday meal to Krishna, the Duta. Then Duryodhana arranged an elaborate feast for him in his bhojan. So he offered that I have arranged Raj Bhog for you with elaborate items, and entire this clan are ready, and to witness that the Bhog of Bhagavan, many people came just to witness this holy activity. But Sri Krishna did not accept. He said, no, I am invited elsewhere. I am sorry, you have not invited me before, but I am already invited elsewhere. So Duryodhana wanted to know, who is that fortunate person who can compete with me? Then Krishna said, that is Vidura. Now Vidura was this cousin of this Duryodhana, not cousin, his cousin uncle. We know that his father, the Dhritarashtra has 2 other brothers, Pandu and Vidura, and all come from the same father. So their father is same, but then their mother are different. Now this Vidura was the mother of Vidura was a dasi, maid servant, whereas the mother of this Dhritarashtra and Pandu were Amba and Ambalika. They are of royal origin. So the kingdom fell on Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Pandu first because he was old, Dhritarashtra next because handicapped. But Vidura was kept in the royal court, but then he was not given any part of the kingdom because he was Dasi Putra. So Duryodhana never gave any honor and respect to this person, but he was a great devotee of God. So Sri Krishna did not accept his. Now Vidura was present in that court. He was surprised. He never had the audacity to invite Krishna. He is a poor person. And when that Duryodhana did that sinful act of undressing Draupadi in the court, Vidura was the one person, not Bhishma, Drona, Karna, etc. Only one person in the court who objected. This is very immoral. It cannot be done in a court by undressing a woman. So for that sin, Vidura was banished and Vidura went to a forest to live outside the court. Vidura was staying there. So Sri Krishna went there straight. Vidura didn't know. He never had. So by the time he reached there, he was thinking to procure some materials because he knows his household. He cannot entertain Krishna. So when he suddenly arrived, Krishna, in that house, then Vidura's wife was embarrassed. She wasn't prepared. And then she said that, please wait, let me see what I can prepare for you. Krishna said, I cannot wait. I am very hungry. You have to offer me whatever you have. Now his wife was overwhelmed, Vidura Patni, and she was so much overwhelmed that she was weeping. The grace of God. God has come all on his own without being invited, but he feels the call of the devotee is the greatest invitation. God does not require a printed invitation, an elaborate card. His invitation is silent, by the call of the heart. And Vidura and Patni called, and God has arrived. And then he wanted to eat. The Patni was very much embarrassed. He had only some banana to be offered. He was so much overwhelmed, he could not see. So he took out the skin of the banana, and instead of offering the banana, she offered the skin. And God ate the skin with joy. She was not given banana, skin was offered. The question was, does God take our offering? He does. He doesn't care what is being offered. He cares only the method of offering, the way we offer, and whether it is mixed with bhakti. He takes bhakti, not the matter. So that's why in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, later on he said, Patram pushpam phalam toyam jo me bhaktya prajachyati tat tat apuritam ashnami tapa. That I ashnami, I eat it, not grahan kari, ashnami, I eat it. What? Patra, pushpa, phal. What are the items? Leaf, fruit, some flower, or some water, whatever is offered. The offering material is not of consideration, of secondary details, provided it is mixed with devotion. So here we find, when a householder, whatever he makes it, if it gives you the devotion, then it is accepted by God. That's why Sri Ramakrishna is accepting the offering of Suresh Mitra. His devotion is generated because of his activity of Jive Daya. That's why three are interrelated. That any of the three practices would do. He is not able to call this Nama Sankirtan, he is not able to do. Jo Chaitanya Dev say threefold. So threefold is necessary. If not, only one will do. So here, Suresh was not able to do Bhakta Seva. He is not able to come. Neither he was having a time to Nam Sankirtan. But what did he? He followed only one. That is, he was making a charity. And that has saved him. So Ramakrishna is prescribing this method, simple method. Call on God and visit me now and then, and at least make a charity, and that will purify your wealth and enable you to become a devotee of the God. We'll continue this topic further in our next Sunday class. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampadhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Now we close the discussion with a chanting of the Lord, and then we proceed to the old shrine for our Durga Puja meeting. Please join with me in chanting the name of the Lord. Nam Sankirtan. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Announcements. Now we'll have a Durga Puja meeting for the devotees and volunteers in the old shrine. In the afternoon we have the usual क्लास फॉर द यूथ ऑन युवाओं के व्यक्तित्व विकास के लिए भारतीय व्याख्यान, द रीडिंग एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ द lectures of Colombo to Almora by Swami Vivekananda, followed by guided meditation. And today will be the ultimate day of the 3-day spiritual orientation course which is going on. You are perhaps aware, for the newcomers we are having a 3-day spiritual orientation and introduction to meditation. This Shivir camp for 3 days, the last 3 days of the weekend of the month, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, for 1 hour each for the newcomers, the Adhyatmik Jagrukta evam Dhyan Prashikshan Shivir. Today is the final time. So the youth class will be from 5 to 5:45 and the spiritual orientation from 5:45 to 6:45, followed by distribution of the certificates. We give a certificate for each participant and it is held at the end of every month. Those who have not followed the course, they can enroll themselves. It is completely free. And evening there will be these devotional songs, Samohik Bhajan after the Aarti. And following Friday as usual we will have Maki Madhu Smritya in the old shrine, which is organized by the Sarada Sangha Lucknow. And the evening we will have the Naradiya Bhakti Sutra Pravachan, and we meet again next Sunday. Best wishes.